What's going on, friends and fellow artists? This is Matt, aka Mr.E in 3D, and today we are going to be finally taking our generic head form and turning that into our Orc Warrior. During the last video, we created this head, and we can essentially use this for any Orc character that we create, probably more centered around the male characters, but now we are ready to actually start making this specific to the character that we are going to eventually 3D print. So, you can see back here, I've already imported a set of eyes. That is from another file where I created a whole different series of eyes. I'm eventually going to create a video for that and share that with you guys, how I go about that process. But for now, we're just going to line these up and see how they look. They look a little goofy right now. I promise you, though, they're going to look fine as soon as we get more of the details started. A couple things that I did for this model, the generic model, before recording. I went ahead, I merged the vertices here at his mouth to make that look a little bit better. I worked on the ears a little bit, made the ears a little bit better, and I also actually brought the jawline down some. I know during the last video I kept saying the jaw needed to be bigger, and as soon as I stepped away and came back, I realized that it was way too big in comparison to the sketch that I did for the character. So I definitely recommend taking some time away from your projects, stepping away for a couple hours or even a day, coming back and then revisiting them, because sometimes you will see different things that maybe you just need to rethink. So I don't have too much to go over or change for him, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go into edit, and I'm going to create his eyebrows, okay? We're going to take this line, I'm going to grab that along the Z, bring that down a little bit, and then what I'm going to do, we'll bring that one down too. I'm going to use my knife utility, which is K, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sketch in his eyebrows. Now he does have kind of big bushy eyebrows because he's an orc. And what you're going to see, and I'm going to show you something that happens typically when I do this. You're going to see this pinching. Okay, we're gonna fix that in a second. I'm actually doing that on purpose so I can show you guys how to fix that, okay? And then as we add the lines here, you can see that kind of brings his brow. That's fine, we're gonna fix that as well. So what happens with this pinching? The reason why this happens is because we have these vertices that are kind of just floating out here, out in the middle of nowhere, that aren't connected to any existing lines. Okay, it's a very simple process to fix. You just hit K, bring a line, K, bring a line, and you can see as soon as I do that, it fixes all of this up. Okay. Boom. Now we still have this little pinch line here. That's not that big of a deal. We're going to go ahead. That'll pretty much disappear as soon as we actually get done with the brows. So from here, let's switch it over to faces. And I'm going to grab all those faces that I just made. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to E for extrude along the Y. I'm going to pull that brow line out, and boom, you can instantly see where the eyebrows are going to come in, okay? And from here, I'm going to scroll in, I'm going to hit Control R, create a loop cut. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag it all the way back, almost towards the back of, right up against this other one. And you'll see that actually really defines that line. Now, the reason why that's happening, actually, is because of the process that we went through when we were with the subdivision surface. We've subdivided this again. Now these lines here are the subdivided lines of the actual existing model. So if I take this down to nothing, this is what we have. Okay. As I'm looking at the levels for the viewpoint and I'm adding these, if I were to apply the subdivision, this is what you would get, and you would get this number of faces within. You can actually see them here if you look closely, right? That number of faces is going to be multiplied throughout all of the existing faces. So when we add loop cuts, we're adding additional faces. And when we scrunch them up, we're actually taking all of those faces and we're scrunching them down together to form that nice little line, okay? And there are his eyebrows. I think we look good like that, yeah. The one thing I'm gonna do from here, and this is kind of a posing thing, but we'll just do it while we're here, wireframe. Let's go ahead and grab those eyebrows. We don't wanna grab underneath. We just wanna grab the eyebrow itself. Actually, we can grab this. I'm on line. Let's make sure I'm on faces, okay? Good. And yeah, we want to make sure we're grabbing everything there. Good. Z, let's go back to the solid. Grab Z, And we're going to bring this down. We're going to give him kind of like a furrowed brow because he's focused. And we're going to unselect these. And you unselect by clicking, pushing down on the center mouse button. I don't know if I've ever said that yet. And then we're going to rotate by hitting R along the Y. And we're going to make him kind of more angry. Good. Now, he is going to kind of have like, at the end of the video, I'm going to actually give him a smile as well when I work on the mouth. He's going to have like kind of like a cocky sneer going on. So he's focused, but he's also kind of enjoying the experience. He's in the middle of a battle. You know, arrows are flying at him, swords are coming at him, and he's focused, but he's also kind of enjoying the moment. That's kind of what I want to go with this guy. That's kind of, it best meets his attitude. And again, he's like a Viking. So he's kind of like a marauder. He's out there just chopping away and having fun. But he's also focused on what he's doing, okay? So we have his brows done. I like that. It's pretty good so far. Let's go ahead and add his hair. For his hair, go back into edit. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a knife cut from here to here. And I'm going to hit Control R. And I'm going to add one line, okay? And if you remember the sketch, and I'll bring the sketch back once we get to a point where we're getting to the point where we're posing and everything is pretty much squared away. He has kind of like this braided rows in his hair that go from here, you know, the side is shaved and it's just from the top to the back. Again, going with that Viking-esque look. So I'm going to go ahead and click here, and I'm going to do 2 knife cuts from here to here. And I'll show you why in a second. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to select faces, and I'm going to select this line to get started. And then I'm just going to hit E for extrude. And then I'm going to hit Z twice. And that'll actually line it up along the Z. And put straight up. Okay. I'll do the next line. And for this line, I'm just going to let it extrude. I'm going to hit E, and I'm going to let it go. You see it takes it on a little bit of an angle. That's the angle that the faces are facing. We're just going to let it go the way it's supposed to go. That's fine. And then we're going to do the same thing with the next group. We're going to E, and allow that to come out. And then lastly, we're going to take this end side. And this is the part that comes actually back into the ponytail. So what we want to do when we're doing this, we want to make sure that we're getting all of the faces, especially those that are long angles. Sometimes if you cut across, you may miss one of these little triangles. It's going to make it look goofy. Not the end of the world. You just Control Z back and make sure you grab that face. All right, we're going to E, and we're going to pull that last one up and get ourselves our line, okay? Now, because we have more along the back, it kind of brought this face back. I'm going to grab that along the Y and make sure that comes out to the front with the rest. Awesome, perfect. I'm going to grab this GZ. I'm going to bring this down and make sure this is nice and square. Let's go ahead and, let's change over to vertices and grab these two. And I'm going to grab X. I want to make sure this is where my ponytail is going to come in. So this is where like the knot is going to be. Base, grab Z. Okay, so from here. Just kind of have where his hair is going to go. It looks good. I like it. I am going to go ahead on this, and I'm going to hit E along the Y. I'm going to pull this straight out. This is going to be kind of where the knot of his ponytail is. And then I'm going to hit E along the Y again, and then I'm going to do it again. Now this one, I'm going to scale out. Actually, this whole unit, let's go ahead and grab this whole face, or this whole little box here. We're going to hit Scale S, and we're going to scale this whole one out, okay? And that is going to give us our surface part for our ponytail. Now, it's a little bit, it's like more rectangle than square. So just grab that NG along the X and bring that in. Good, awesome. Now you can kind of see where that hairline is. It's starting to look exactly the way I want it to look, which is great. Now if I come in here, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go use my knife utility. Now I could try to use loop cuts, but that's really gonna add faces all along here. And I said this in the last video, the more faces that you add, the more squared it's going to make your lines look, and especially when you're dealing with, you know, humanoids or anything organic, you don't want it to look too squared. So for this, I'm just going to use the knife utility. I'm going to cut a block. Okay, And then I'm just going to take a line to this and a line to this. I hit enter. Okay. All right, good enough. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7. I'm not going to break this down by 7. I'm not going to be that specific. I don't think anybody's really going to care. So I'm going to go 1 to here, and we'll give him 9 braids. It's not a big deal. We'll just do it up. Okay. All right, from here we'll select, we're still on faces, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to E straight out. Again, I'm not going to worry about focusing on making sure it's along the Y or the X, just E straight out. I am going to take these and make these a little bit different angled. E, 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 grab Z, and E. Okay. If you want to like make these a little bit tighter, make these a little bit close, you can just go ahead and do Control R. I can do some loop cuts around these. I'll definitely make it more distinct. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to. Okay. The one thing I'm going to do though, like if you look at these center ones, they're not squared. So I'm going to grab the vertices and go 1, 2. You can probably just grab all of them at once. 3, 4, 5, and oh, sometimes it gets a little tricky. And I'm going to grab X and bring them in more towards the center, make them more squared. There we go. And now we have his little ponytail. Now you can make these longer, you can make them shorter. It might be a little too short for my taste, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab all of these. Grab on the Y. There we go. And now he has his little ponytail. All right, now if I want to make this hairline as sharp and clear as I can, very simply, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control R, and I'm going to do a loop cut that goes all the way around. I'm going to click, then I'm going to hit Scale In, and you'll see what happens. Scale. There you go. And then one last one around here. There we go. All right. And that gives us our nice firm hairline. Perfect. Okay. So there's one more detail that I want to show you. I'm not going to do it for the entire video. You may see it on the final version. I tried it in one of my test runs and it actually turned out really cool, and that is adding some detail to the braids. Okay, so in order to do that, and again, I'm not going to do it for the whole thing, I'm just going to show you guys how I go about doing it. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to go K, I'm going to grab that inside, vert, 2, 3, enter. Oh, but then take it. What if it's grabbing a hold of that? Nope, okay, it's not going to do it. That's fine. I can do it this way. Okay, 2. And then I'm just going to basically draw an X, okay, along this inside edge. Is it not letting me do it? Maybe I just, you know what, is that it? It may be too close. Yeah, it's too close to this one. Okay, that's not a big deal. And then what I'm going to do, I am going to select, okay, we're done with that. Have to hit enter. Grab faces. We're going to grab these. I'm going to Shift E, grab Z, and I'm going to pull that duplicate X off. Okay. And then I'm going to hit P, and I'm going to separate out that selection. So this is going to take this into a completely different model. Okay. I'm going to grab that object, edit mode. Let's go to wireframe so you can see what's happening. Now, the reason why I've got to do this, what I'm doing right now is, when I duplicate it off, it actually takes it off of the center line for the larger model, okay? So it's still going to use that same center point as the head. So I've got to change this so that the center point is fixed on this X that I just created, okay? So in edit mode, I just select all, grab Z, grab Y. Actually, let me show you why. Because if I were to rotate this, it's going to rotate off of that center line, object. And watch, if I rotate off of that center line, it's going to rotate all of it off of that center point there. So we want to make sure that if we're rotating it or moving it, we're actually rotating it directly off of the object. So I'm going to go into edit. So I have everything selected. I'm going to grab Z, grab Y. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just to be like as close as you can get it, okay? Object mode. I want to bring that back where it was, all of it. And now if I rotate it, you can see it's just rotating right off of it. That's going to be key for what I'm about to show you, okay? Let's go back to solid mode so you can see what I'm about to do. Object, edit, E. I'm just going to bring it straight out. It's not a big deal. Let's add a couple loop cuts here. Okay. And I have this object. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to Y, C, Y. I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to Shift E, grab Z, grab Y, rotate X, grab Z, grab Y. And if you do this enough, no, it's not showing enough. Grab Z, grab X. I don't want to spend too much time on this because you can see how tedious this does become, but it does give you a really, really cool. It does give you a really cool effect. And grab that again, Shift D, grab Y, grab Z, rotate X, grab Z. And you can see, like, if I go about and I do this over the entire thing, scale X, and I take the time, if I go over all of the braids, he is going to, that is actually going to look like braids. And it's a really cool little detail that you can add. Again, by the time we get to the actual posing, I'll have all of this connected and I'll have done this throughout all of his braids. I'm not going to do it for the sake of this video. It's way too long to do, but you can see how cool that does look when it's done, and like the level of detail that it gives you. It's pretty neat. So I'm going to do that for him, but I won't do it here. The last thing that I want to do is I want to get his mouth posed, and I want to get him to have some teeth, okay? So really quick, what we're going to do, go back into our head model, grab edit, super easy. Let's go back to our vertices, and we're going to grab this corner vertice, and we are going to hit G for grab, Z for the Z line, and we're going to pull it straight up and give him a smile. Grab X. And then for here, we can come into this one so it's not so pinched. Grab Z. And then if you really want, you can grab this, grab Z. And you can see how much of a difference that subtle little change makes in giving him his own personality. He mad. Grab that, grab Z for that, bring that up just a tiny little bit so that his smile is affecting his cheeks. Awesome. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna give him teeth. Now, I want to emphasize this again. I mentioned this kind of previously. When you're building out your models, you want to be forward thinking. You want to have the plan for what you're going to use this model, what you're going to use it for in your head, and how you're going to proceed. So I've said it before, my primary focus here with this channel is to create models that I 3D print. These characters are going to be little statues, little game pieces, whatever. I am not going to be animating them. However, in the back of my mind, I am thinking that maybe down the road, I will want to animate this guy, okay? And maybe I'll save a version of him that I can animate. For the sake of what I'm about to show you, this is strictly for the 3D printing process. However, I am going to leave it in a state that I could eventually change out the teeth and actually give him teeth that separate and can be animated and so on. So to start off, you can see here that our cursor is way off center. If I were to go ahead and try to add the mesh, it's going to add it way up here. I don't want that. So I'm going to hit Object, Snap, and I'm going to put Cursor to World Origin. And that takes it back to the center line for the Y, the X, and the Z, okay? From there, I'm going to hit Add, Mesh, Cube. I'm going to grab this along the Y. I'm going to bring it out in front of him. I'm going to scale it along Z. I'm going to scale it along Y. Let's bring it back into line with his face. We can do the final sizing. Scale down. Scale over the X. There we go. Scale. Scale. That's probably good enough. Grab Z. Yeah, it'll work. Okay, let's bring this out. Super easy. I'm going to go into Object, Edit Mode. I'm going to add a couple loop cuts. So I need 4 faces, going to have 4 teeth showing, okay? So I'm going to Control R for my loop cut. I'm going to scroll up on my mouse wheel, and you can see that as I scroll up, it adds lines. If I were to scroll down, it removes them. So scroll up to 3, give myself 4 faces. Good. I'm going to do another loop cut around the center. Awesome. From here, let's go back to faces. I'm going to extrude these. I'm then going to extrude these, and extrude these. Okay. I'm going to come over here, add modifier. I'm going to type in my subdivision surface. I'm going to do 2. Okay, look a little weird now. We're going to fix that real quick with a couple more loop cuts. Control R, Control R, Control R, Control R. Nope, not 3, 2. Boom. Edit object. You may want these to be a little bit more, maybe just a little bit more defined. And at this point, you can just go grab these faces. And then we're going to go grab Y, and boom, edit. That's perfect. Object. And we're going to, let's take it up to 3 to match the other parts. Grab Y, and you can see he now has teeth. And he is smiling, and he is in the heat of battle, and he is loving every second of it, okay? So guys, outside of this, I am going to go, I'll touch him up a little bit, maybe do a couple of different things here or there. I'm going to try to get the braids to look better. I'll do the entire head braided. I may try to get that line to come down along the side. I think that would look a little bit better. But yeah, this is it. This is our Orc Warrior. His face is done. Pretty happy with the results. From here, what we're going to do is the next video, we are going to create a generic body for all of our characters. The generic body we're going to be able to use for everybody. And I'll be able to show you during that video why, because essentially we can modify arm length, size, we can modify the musculature, all of that good stuff we can do off of one body model. It's a little bit different for faces because different characters have different facial structures. But from there, after we've done the body, we will then start creating his body specifically in the video that follows that. After that, we will start the posing process. So this is the last you're going to see of his face for a couple videos, but I am very excited to get this project finished up. I'm very excited to get him finished and posed. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Please give us a comment, a share, a like. You all know the drill. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.